Hi, everybody. Hi, and welcome to our Sage Goddess Astrology course. So happy to be with you tonight. And I have many of you live in the room. I have many of you live on a computer, and it's just really fun to blend these audiences this way. This is our first astrology class. It's not our first one ever. It's our second one ever, but it's our first one where we have the hybrid audience. Because I was at the Tucson Gem Show last month. So I was live from a very unattractive hotel room a month ago. So I'm very, very happy to be in my own sacred space. Really happy to see all of you and hope that you're excited about our gathering tonight. So we are talking about Pisces tonight. And I was just telling the folks in the room that I was very honest. I have no water in my chart. Have you all run your chart here in the room? Most people know. Astro.com, and I don't get any, there's no advertising or whatever. It's all free, so I have no vested interest in you going to astro.com. But if you haven't run your chart, if you go to astro.com, you can enter your birth data, and it will pull up a natal chart for you. And what that natal chart will tell you is it pinpoints the location of all the planets at the moment of your entrance to this life. And it's very powerful because it tells you your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. Okay? Where is your sun? Where was your sun? What sign was your sun in at the moment you arrived? Where was the moon? What sign was your moon in? And then your rising sign is what was coming up over the horizon at that time, what planet or what sign. And it's important, you're going to hear me say sun, moon, and rising tonight quite a bit, because if you're a Pisces sun, that's very different than a Pisces moon. And that's very different from a Pisces rising, okay? And I'm going to talk to you, in case you didn't join me last month, I'm going to talk to you about the meaning of each of those things so that you're aware. So there's going to be quite a bit of teaching, but I think the best part of these gatherings are the meditations. And so tonight we're doing a water meditation, a water element meditation. Pisces is a water sign, and it is mutable water. The signs themselves come in three forms: fixed, mutable, and cardinal. So there are three water signs. There's a fixed water, a mutable water, and a cardinal water. And Pisces is the mutable of the three. It is the most flexible in that way. Cardinal is the one that gets things going, and fixed is the one that's very, very stubborn. Mutable is the one that goes with the flow. And to say that about a water sign, a mutable water sign is serious go with the flow. But that does not mean Pisces are easy. Any Pisces in the room here with me physically? Okay. So I'll try to be kind. But listen, y'all didn't sign up for the friendly astrology class. You signed up for the real astrology class. I like to call this honey badger astrology. Did you see the video, the honey badger video that went live? Okay. That's how I do tarot readings. I do honey badger tarot readings where, like, it's over in 4 minutes, but you got everything you needed. You know what I mean? So people say, could you do an hour-long reading for me? And I used to say, I don't think that's possible. I will tell you everything in 4 minutes that you need to know, and then you're going to be on your way. But it's tough because I don't sugarcoat things. I used to do readings, and it was really stressful because I had a 6-month waiting list for readings. And if I got sick or something happened, people always ask me why I don't do readings anymore. It was a lot of pressure on me and a lot of energy drain from me because I did a reading a day, 365 days a year, and it was a lot. But anyway, now this is my way to sort of do a reading for you without doing readings, which is to tell you that there are what I call the light and shadow of every sign. And I'm trying to tell you things that I never learned about these signs, like things that I've gathered over my, what is now 26 years of magical practice, training in all kinds of traditions. I'm trying to share with you what I think is the most interesting information that I've accumulated along the way. And when I say light and shadow, I mean, what are the beautiful things about being a Pisces? We're going to talk about those things. And I'm going to talk to you about what it means to be a Pisces man and what it means to be a Pisces woman. And then what are the not as beautiful things about being a Pisces? And then we're going to talk about integration. Like, how do we become a fully evolved Pisces? I'm a Leo. I'm an evolved Leo, which means I can interact with people without harming them or overwhelming them or setting them on fire. Unevolved Leos are very scary people because they're very ego-driven and they're very power-oriented. And so evolving into a sign means you integrate both the light and the shadow aspects of that sign. And you learn to tame the wilder aspects of yourself and sort of encourage or engage the more beautiful aspects of your sign. So I want each of you to think about people in your lives, your own self. If Pisces is your natal sign, your sun sign or your moon sign or your rising sign, what does that mean? Do I have anybody online who's a double Pisces, either sun and moon or sun and rising? Anybody fit into that category? Very curious. That would be a lot for the world. A lot of feeling for the world. So Elena's asking, how do you know? If you go to astro.com and you enter your birth data, that's the easiest way I know. I'm sure there's other ways to find out, but that's just a nice way. All you need to do is have you need your name, you need the minute you were born, so it's got to be really precise. Call your mom. I always say, if you don't know, call your mom. That moment is so traumatic, she'll never forget. I did it twice. Call your mom. She was there. And then you need the city. You need to know the precise coordinates. So you need to know the city and state and the country. If you're adopted and they don't know, that's a challenge, Riley, because it means you won't have access to your natal chart. But if you're able to find out, that is the most helpful way to be able to internalize. Now, if you know within a day or two, then you probably know your sun sign, okay? Because most of the sun signs go from the 20th or 21st of one month to the 20th or 21st of the next month. They're 30-day windows. So it should be, Kayla's exactly right, it should be on your birth certificate. You may not know your moon and your rising if you don't know the minute, because the minute's really important. Those planets are moving every minute. So if people ask me, does it really matter if it was 8 a.m. or 9 a.m.? It really, really does matter. Okay, so we're going to talk about all that. So hopefully you're excited. I'm very excited. And if you have your tools, I make little astrological tool sets. So I'm going to light my candle now. This is Pisces. And these are water tools. They're blended with oils that are known to be associated with the astrological signs. There's a very intentional process in creating these tools, which I hope you love. And I've got my Pisces perfume oil here as well, and I'm going to be passing that around the audience here live in case anybody doesn't have it. Wish you had Scratch and Sniff TV, but you don't, sorry. And then there's gemstones and the incense, which I've been burning all day too, which I hope you love. People are asking if we're on yet, so we are. I see me. Hopefully you see me. Refresh your screen. If you log on and you can't see anything, go to the refresh button in the top left and refresh, and you should be able to see me. Usually works. Okay. Okay. In live, they're probably wondering why I'm laughing, but you guys are really funny in the feed. So, although if you're Pisces, you may not be laughing in a few minutes. You may be crying in a few minutes. Because here's the thing. So I grew up with water sign people around me. My sister's Cancer. And I spent most of my childhood making her cry. And sometimes just by walking into the room with her, like I swear to you, I didn't say anything, but I would like walk into the room and she would start to cry. But what I learned about working so extensively with water sign people, and like I said, most of the people in my life are water or earth signs. What I've come to appreciate about water signs in general, so I'm speaking to you if you're a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio, okay, is that you feel everything so deeply. I mean, I'm looking for nods in the audiences too, but you just feel it so deeply. And as somebody who doesn't feel that way, I really appreciate that. I grew up with friends who would say things to me like, you're kind of a dude, the way you don't feel things. Like you're kind of, and in a way I sort of am. Like but it comes across as masculine. My lack of depth of emotional connection comes across as masculine, but I always sort of envied people who felt really, really deeply the emotions of life. And now that I'm raising one, I also make her cry. Not intentionally, but I find myself saying to her a lot, listen, little lady, you're going to have to get it together. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry you don't like the ponytail holder I chose for you today, but this is not a reason to have a crying fit for 15 minutes. We need to get it together. When she's older, we'll laugh more about it than we are right now. But she's also teaching me through her Piscean ways what it means to feel to ride those deeper waves of life. And I was in a relationship for a long time with somebody who was a Pisces Sun, Scorpio Moon. Now, you want to talk about feeling the feelings? That person felt the feelings of the feelings. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're really feeling now. My daughter is also a Pisces Sun, Scorpio Moon. And I'm going to talk to you about tonight about a little bit about that. Not every Sun and Moon combination, but what's interesting about the Scorpio Moons. Anybody here a Scorpio Moon? Scorpio Moon people. Now, I suspected my daughter was a Scorpio Moon because from the time she was little, she talked about death. But in a really fascinated way, like, where do bugs go when they die? Or she would see a skeleton and be like, ooh, I love skeletons. Or she wanted to watch zombie movies when she was 3. It was really weird, right? But I knew that Scorpio Moon people have a fascination with death. But not the morbidity of it. They're just interested. They're very comfortable talking about death. It doesn't scare them as much as it scares everybody else. They're interested in sort of the darker sides of things. And so as soon as she was like, can we watch a zombie movie? I was like, you must have a Scorpio Moon. So it's funny, Natasha saying, yeah, it doesn't really faze me. It's not, she doesn't talk about it all the time, but they have a morbid fascination with life and death. And she's really okay with it. And she's young. So it's very interesting to me. I have no idea what that will look like when she's older, but come back to me in about 15 years and we'll talk about what that turned out like. Anyway, she's probably got the right parent. I think we get the right parents in life, so I can work with her morbidity. But, we were having a conversation the other day, and she's like, what do people look like when they die? And I was like, well, they look like what they look like. She's like, what do they look like 2 months after they die? And I was like, well, I'm not really ready to go there with you right now. When you're a little bit older, we can talk about that. But today, let's focus on what we're having for lunch, and we'll have a different kind of conversation. Yeah. I don't know what they look like 2 months after. So anyway, welcome. It's going to be an interesting evening. Okay, so I want to start out by talking about Pisces sort of in general. And like I said, I think the gift of Pisces to the world is the ability to connect with the deeper feelings. The word Pisces, does anybody in the room know where the word Pisces came from?
Latin.
It is Latin. What does it mean?
Fish.
It does. It means fish. They won the quiz. It's Latin. It means fish in Latin. Kayla's like, I was close. You were very close. The Greeks and the Latins, Greeks would tell you that they came up with language, and the Latins, the Romans did nothing. So, and I'm Greek. So, but the Greeks can't take full credit for everything. The word actually does come from a Latin root. Anyway. So, and the first actual recorded image of the dual fish, the glyph for Pisces, right? It's on your candle. This is sort of a loose interpretation of it, but it's the fish, right? One fish swimming downstream, one fish swimming upstream. That's what the Pisces do. There's always the part of the Pisces that's swimming upstream, and there's always the part of the Pisces that's swimming downstream. They're not like Libras in the sense that they're not overthinking it. Libras do the same thing. Should I go? Should I not go? Should I have a ham sandwich or a turkey sandwich? And that's what Libras do all day long about everything. Should I wear the pink pants or the blue pants? With their entire life, right? They're not Libras in the sense that they're not overthinking it, but they're over-feeling it. Should I stay in this relationship? Should I leave? Should I stay in this job? Should I quit? And again, it's not in their head, they're feeling it. Do I love this job? Do I not love this job? And then they're crying, and then nobody knows why they're crying. But that's a different thing. When we get to Cancer, we'll talk about how different Cancers are from Pisces. All of the feels, as Kayla said, yes, they feel all of the feelings today and every day. Amen. Okay. Now, if you're a Pisces sun and a Libra rising, anybody that combination? I'm Libra rising. I'm a people pleaser. But I love my Libra rising. Here's what's interesting. So I'm going to define these terms so that you know what we're working with. Your sun sign is who you are, and it's who you evolve into, okay? So your whole life, you're becoming that sun sign. I am still becoming a Leo at 41 years old. So I'm still learning what it means to be the lion, the lioness. I'm quite good at it now, but I'm still evolving into it. Your moon sign is your set of deeper interests or deeper feelings. It has more to do with your subconscious, okay? So your moon sign is, in a sense, who you are when you're not thinking about it. okay? And it has more to do with your interests, your inclinations, and your intuition. So I'm a Sagittarius moon. So I'm a double fire sign. Sagittarius moon people are the occult people of the world. They're very interested in the mysteries, in magic. So whenever I find my kind in the world, they're usually Sagittarius moons. Okay, your rising sign, here's what's interesting. Your rising sign is what people think you are. Yeah. So if you just met me today, you would probably be surprised that I'm a Leo, because I'm immediately asking, how are you? What can I do for you? What do you need? I'm overthinking you, right? Like I'm trying to help you and figure you out. I'm probably talking a lot. These are not Leo traits. Leo steps back and is like, you can help yourself. Welcome to my house. You know what I mean? But the Libra is like, how can I help you? What do you need? Are you comfortable? Is the temperature in the room right? Should I be here? Should I not be here? Do they like me? Do they not like me? I don't know. Okay. I definitely have that for about 15 minutes. And then it's, hi. Yeah. So the red hair and the purple hair gives it away, right? But your rising sign is a beautiful part of you because it really is how you greet the world. We call it the mask in astrological studies. It's your mask. So what mask do you wear? That's your rising sign. And it's really important to know that because here's the thing. From a perspective of wanting to learn astrology so that you better know yourself, right? You can help people be in relationship with you. I think that's really the gift of astrology is you can learn a lot about yourself to help people be in relationship with you and to figure out how to bring your soul gifts forward in the world, because that holy trinity of your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign tells you a lot about yourself. And it's ideal if you have some balance. So if you have a sun sign that's a fire sign, and a moon sign that's a water sign, and a rising sign that's an earth sign, then you have different elements working with you. And like I said, I don't have that. I have one air sign, which is my rising, and I have double fire in my sun and moon. Which means I have to do a lot of work with water, and I have to do a lot of work with earth to make that work out. Now your Venus, where your Venus is, does anybody in the room know where your Venus is? Yeah? What's your Venus in? Cancer. Anybody know what your Venus represents? What does it represent? How you what? How you love. How you love. So that's important to know too. If you love like a Pisces, we're going to talk about that tonight. I love like a Virgo, which is like a cold brick. You have to laugh about it, right? But I love like a Virgo, which doesn't often feel like love. It feels like a nice, shaking of the hand. So you have to overcome. You have to figure out where you are. It's very true. I mean, it really is true. Again, you can evolve into things. And you never fully abandon your sun sign, but your Venus tells you a little bit about how you love. Your Mars, anybody know what your Mars tells you? How you fight. How you fight. Yeah. If your Mars is in Pisces, you fight by crying. Yes. You fight by not fighting. There's a little bit of dysfunction there. You're probably holding a lot inside if your Mars is in Pisces. My Mars is in Aries. Aries is the cardinal sign of Mars. So Aries is the sign of war. Mars is the planet of war. I fight like a boy. Yeah. Okay, so there's all of that. So hopefully you're interested in all of this, right? Like, oh gosh, all of a sudden I can know how I come across to people, what my deeper interests are, how I need to evolve in the world, how I fight, how I love. And then you can start looking, this is where you get a little OCD if you're like me. You start running the charts of everybody you know. I have a whole book with my husband, my kids, my parents, I practically want to run the charts of people who work for me. Like, okay, so how are we going to do this here? What's that going to look like? But from a conflict resolution perspective, it's really helpful to know. If my Mars is in Aries, I'm gonna get really, really mad, and then it's over. And I'm done. I'm mad for 15 minutes and it's like it never happened. If your Mars is in a water sign, you're going to stew a little bit. And that's a grudge holding position for Mars. That's not so good. So I would have a hard time with people who have Mars in a water sign because they're still thinking about it tomorrow. I was like, did that happen? I vaguely remember that happened. If your Mars is in an earth sign, you're probably a peacemaker of sorts because you probably fight in a really grounded way. Like, listen, that happened, it sucked, we need to find a better way to do this, or there's just a grounding element to it, right? If you fight in an air sign, again, you're like real mad, right? And again, there's a possibility that you're stewing on it. You might not be as hurt by it, but you're probably overthinking it. Like, what did he mean by that? Yeah. It's fascinating stuff. Okay. So coming back to Pisces. If your sun sign is in Pisces, that's what you're evolving into for your whole life. And you're figuring out, the fundamental question for Pisces is, how do I work that duality, right? What I feel on such a deep level and what I'm experiencing in the world. Pisces, for all of us in the world, hold the imagination. Pisces are the great imaginators. They're able to imagine things that don't exist in a beautiful way. They are the artists of the world, no doubt about it. I mean, if you look at I always tell people, if you look at a lot of the presidents of the United States, they're Leos. If you look at a lot of the artists, they're Pisces. They're water signs because they're able to channel and take in all that information, that inspiration, and they're able to materialize it in some form. Nobody's art's going to look the same, but they tend to be very artistic. They tend to love to paint. My daughter's very much that way. I was not surprised after she was born, and she really just wanted to. My daughter would rather paint than do anything. And if she sees paints, like, she shakes. She's so excited. Because again, it's water, it's color, it's bringing their imagination, it's giving themselves a platform to communicate their feelings. Because Pisces sometimes struggle with the words. So they need some other channel. They're extremely intuitive. And in fact, I would say Pisces are among the most intuitive in the entire zodiac. Now, here's what's interesting. Does anybody know the story of the fish? Who were the fish? Does anybody know who the original fish were? I love Greek mythology. So Aphrodite, that's true, and her son Eros were the original fish. And they turned into fish to avoid attack. They were warned of an attack by another god. And so they turned into fish and went into the depth of the water. And so what's really interesting to me, if you think about it from that perspective, is Aphrodite is the goddess of love. Her son is the goddess of a more passionate sort of physical love, right? So it's like balancing the emotional and the physical. And that's something that's really a challenge for Pisces. As deep as they are, they struggle sometimes to get into their bodies. Okay? So Pisces they're not up in their head. Again, they're not like Libras thinking it all through, but they're feeling it in their body. But a lot of times they have trouble with intimacy. Even sexually as adults. They can have trouble sometimes because they feel everything so intensely that sex can become very overwhelming for Pisces. So it helps if they have a rising sign or a moon sign and a complementary sign that would give them more grounding or more of an ability to get into their bodies. Because here's what shocks people about Pisces. I work with a lot of people, so if you're wondering, like, how does she know all this? People come to me for sex. They come to me not to get sex from me because that doesn't happen, but it makes me sound like a hooker, and I'm not. But they come to me for advice about sex. I just blew the feed. Like, all of a sudden the feed just went completely blank. What did you learn from Athena tonight? Well, so there's that. People come to me for things for sex, stones for sex, advice for sex, inspiration for sex. I talk about sex a lot, so they know they can kind of talk to me straight up about sex. But people often are in relationships with Pisces and they're shocked that there isn't enough intimacy in the relationship. And they don't realize that because Pisces feels so much, they're oftentimes afraid to have sex. They're oftentimes afraid to take a relationship to that next level. And they're not prudes, it's not like they don't want to have sex. They do, and they seek physical intimacy, but they're not as comfortable as their Scorpio brothers and sisters who will have sex with you today. and would have liked for it to happen yesterday. So it's really interesting when you look at the water signs, because some people assume that depth of feeling or connection to the emotions translates to physical intimacy, and for Pisces, not necessarily. They're not going to be the aggressors, in other words. But here's the thing. Once Pisces feels safe with you and they attach. Have you been in a relationship with a Pisces? It's a good thing, right? I mean, I'm cringing a little bit because I'm a Leo and I'm like, whoa, hey, you're a little too close to my mane right now. You know what I mean? Like the tail's going up in the back. When they attach, they attach. And then, Kayla's saying, hug me, Athena. They attach. And it's beautiful. It can be overwhelming for folks. But, you know, Pisces do really well to find other water signs. A Pisces with a Cancer is a beautiful mating. But let's talk about like where they're going to need to adjust, okay? So a Pisces with a Cancer, for example, would have a beautiful relationship. They would feel safe with each other. They would feel seen with each other. They would feel a depth of connection. Cancers mate for life. Don't you, Cancers? I do. So they're feeling safe. They're feeling comfortable. And not a lot is getting done. Okay? Like in the world. So, you know, that's where they'd have to either like, you know, make sure that there are earth influences in their life, that there are, you know, air influences in their life, and fire. You always want to look for how you balance the elements. And if it's not in your profile, that's not in your partner's profile, you're going to have to compensate some other way. Here's the thing, and I'm going to have to tell people in October when we start talking about Scorpio that it's not G-rated. Like this isn't, you know, that's going to be the one conversation where I'm going to have to say, maybe your kids can't join us that evening. Anybody with Scorpio is going to have a good time, right? I mean, Scorpios are deeply physical, deeply intimate. Scorpios are the visceral, the physical is right there with Scorpios all the time. Men and women, although it's a little harder. When the men are, it's right there. The women, it's a little, it's not right there, but it's right there. Do you know what I mean? It's weird, but you know what, if you're a Scorpio, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But Scorpios are extremely sexual, sensual creatures, and they hold all of that energy. But Pisces is a water sign. They feel everything, but they're not, the intimacy has to be more comfortable for them. They have to feel like they know you. They have to feel like they can trust you. And they have to feel, here's the most important thing with a Pisces to remember. They have to really feel like you care about their dreams. Because for a Pisces, everything comes down to the dreams. You know? And I'm very careful with that with my daughter. Like she'll say, last night we were laying in bed and she said, I believe in everything. I believe in fairies, and I believe in the zombies, and I believe in the gnomes, and I believe in the tooth fairy, and I believe in magics, because she says magics instead of magic. I believe in magics, and I believe in everything. And my son is an Aries, so he's laying there and he goes, really? Because none of it's true. And I'm laying there in the middle, right? I'm like looking at her, looking at him, looking at her, and I'm like, this is not going to end well. And you know what she did? She stopped talking. Now, it's kind of sad, but it's a huge thing for Pisces. He didn't believe in her dreams. So what do? They stop. They're not going to pursue that. She totally did. She shut down. They're not going to pursue that intimacy where they know it's not going to be welcome. Now, I mean, I'm laughing a little bit because I'm thinking, like, what if they were dating? Like, that's the last date. Yeah. Great. I believe in everything. They don't exist. I have a nice life. Like that would be the end of that. That would be the end of that. So if you want to love, bye Felicia. If you, it's true. It's true. If you want to love a Pisces, and at the very least, if you want to work well and nicely with a Pisces, or because if your boss is a Pisces, he or she also wants you to believe in the dreams. Okay. And here's the thing. To Pisces, it's not a dream. Like Pisces are the great visualizers. So it's all real for the Pisces. They're feeling it. They're not knowing it, and they're not doing it, and they're not creating it, but they're feeling it as if it already is. And if you reveal yourself to be someone who isn't going to support that, you're going to lose their support. And what I've learned about Pisces over the decades is it really only kind of takes once. Like Pisces kind of don't come back and try again. And that can be a hard lesson to learn. I see someone asking if there's a live video, just please refresh your screen if you don't see me live. If you hear me but you don't see me, just refresh. You know, they kind of don't try again because they get disheartened. Now, then they just move on to somebody else. They find a new person to say, guess what? I believe in it all. The zombies, the fairies, the gnomes, the magics, you know, like, so there's a youthfulness to Pisces spirit because they'll try again and then they'll give that person one shot and then they'll move on. The nice thing is they do find their people. Pisces do find their people. And I find myself extremely inspired by the Pisces people in my life currently and who have been in my life too, because and I have 2 on my staff here in the office, and thank God for them. I mean, you know, we were all having a difficult situation here, and one of them is Alexis in the room. She was going to come. One of them just comes up in the middle of this conversation about a challenge we were all experiencing. It just comes up and grabs me and hugs me. You know, like. And Pisces are not worried about public displays of affection. Like they're feeling the feeling and they're going to help you feel it right there. Like just they're right there helping you feel the feeling. It's very sweet. So they are touchy-feely, they're cuddly, they are, you know, they want to, again, there's a difference between the cuddling and the touchy-feely and sex for Pisces though. So if you feel like you have a cold fish, there's 2 fish. It's weird. I can't do it, but you know what I'm talking about. There's a cold fish and a hot fish. If you have a cold fish, check whether you have affirmed their dreams, made them feel safe, given them support, you know, cuddled enough, created a platform for trust, because all those things are really, really important to Pisces for them to feel safe. It's really important. Yes. Okay, so that's all the lovely light stuff about Pisces. So, Pisces, here's the thing about Pisces. And when I put the stone sets together, I did it partly as a teaching tool. There are 2 stones in every set for the light side of the sign, and there's 2 stones in every set for where that sign needs to do some work, says the sage goddess, okay? Pisces need joy. Like a lot of it. Because sometimes they're so in the feelings, you know, like they're so in there feeling the feelings, they're in the water and they're moving and there's duality and everything that they don't, they sometimes can't find the joy. They sometimes have to be reminded, like today's a good day and this is a happy life. And, you know, you have lots of things to be grateful for and happy for because they're feeling the feelings. And sometimes the feelings take them down and they need a buoyancy. Does that make sense? That's always the word I use with Pisces because they're water signs. They need to find their buoyancy in life because the feelings are intense. The feelings are intense. And they're holding a lot. You know, if there's one Pisces in a group, they're holding the emotions of the whole group. They're holding everything. They're circling that pond. And I guarantee you, any Pisces in an organization is going around the pond going, how are you feeling? Well, let me check in. What are your thoughts? They're not motherers. They're not cancers. Cancers. Every cancer's a mother, even the men. The men marry their mothers. They do. I dated a Cancer once, and I was very much like his mother, and he really liked that. And then I figured that out, and that creeped me out. So that was the end of that. Because that's weird for me. I'll just put that out there. Anyway, Cancers are everybody's mother. And that maternal instinct gets them in trouble. Because you don't always know what everybody needs, Cancer. I do love boy Cancers, though, I have to say. You know, boy Cancers can make the entire world, women and men, feel seen and heard because they're very nurturing. They're bringing people in and they're trying to create connection and community. So, and I'm reading the comments in the feed, trying to get distracted. Yeah, male Cancers throw themselves off. I mean, a lot of male Cancers are struggling with like who they are because they're mothers, they're maternal, and that's weird sometimes for, you know. A lot of, we're not talking about Cancer tonight, but a lot of Cancer men, though, are very secure in their femininity, which I love. You know, men, one of the struggles for men in the world is to balance their divine feminine with their divine masculine in a way that allows them to feel masculine enough, but also honor the feminine ways of knowing and the ways of feeling and the ways of being. Cancers have got it, and it makes other men uncomfortable because it's sort of like, you know, yeah, right? Like, oh, I mean, I won't be crude, but I've had a lot of experience with this where I've had, you know, male friends who are not cancers and interact with male friends who were cancers, and they're like, but you're not gay? They're not necessarily, but they're very in touch. And they're good models for that, you know? They can be really good models for all of us, in fact, about how to integrate. As a lot of us women are very masculine. I'm extremely masculine. So my divine masculine is very strong and pronounced. And I have to work to balance the divine feminine, which surprises people, but it's true. Okay, so come back to our Pisces. So Pisces, here's what I think you need, okay? Pisces need to feel protected. That's one of the reasons Jet is a really good stone for Pisces. When people come to me and they're like, look, I know is my sun sign. What do I need? Pisces need to feel safe. Jet, I chose Jet over black tourmaline, which is also a protective stone, because Jet's more gentle than black tourmaline. Black tourmaline, I always say, is like throwing a boulder in the ocean for protection. Like, boom, you're safe. Okay? Hematite's the same way. Boom. It's too much for me. I don't work at all with black tourmaline or hematite. It surprises people, but I don't. I mean, unless I'm feeling physically unsafe. Because black tourmaline in your car will keep it from being stolen. Black tourmaline around the four corners of your property will keep your house safe. You know, that's a reality. But do you need it for yourself? Most of us don't. So Jet is this really nice, gentle, protective stone. It's even lightweight, and it just is very, very gentle. Jade is a stone that Pisces need because they need strength. They need endurance. It's really hard for Pisces to go the course, to stay the course in a relationship, in life, you know? Like they lose their stamina, which is one reason they like people like me, because I'm a Leo and I don't lose my stamina. As long as there's a lighter close by, I'm just going to keep going. But Pisces are like, I have to keep doing this? You know, it's sort of like getting somebody to run a marathon who's not a runner. Like, what? I have to keep doing this at life. Okay? It's like, no, you have to keep going. That one relationship was not the last relationship. You have to try again, kind of thing. Pisces lose their stamina. So Jade is very helpful. It's one of the reasons Jade is here. Because Jade is strength, endurance, stamina, helping stay the course. And it strengthens Pisces, because Pisces, you're a lot of things. You have a deep imagination, you're highly creative, you're artistic, and you're one of the most intuitive people in the world. Strong you are not. You sound like Yoda when I say that, but strong you are not. So, you can't carry a Leo around with you everywhere you go, so we give you Jade. Now, Aquamarine, your birthstone. I love Aquamarine. And I'm actually wearing Aquamarine today. It's on top of my quartz. I love Aquamarine, so I wore it in honor of our gathering today, but I wear Aquamarine a lot. Aquamarine is about getting in touch with your emotions, and that's what Pisces teach us to do. It's a very gentle stone. It's named after water, because that's what our ancestors thought it was. They thought it was crystallized water. That's what the Romans thought it was. And so they thought that all the water elementals, the sprites and the spirits of the water, they lived inside Aquamarine. So that's what this stone represents. And the element of water, we're going to talk about it in just a minute when we go into our meditation. It's a brief meditation, but I think it'll help you a lot. The element of water is critical to any spiritual work that you do. And that's why I think you'll like tonight. I mean, hopefully you've laughed and you're entertained, and I'm keeping you focused even if you're not a Pisces. But what I hope you'll benefit most from tonight is thinking about how to work with water, especially if you're not a water sign. Then you have real work to do, because you're going to have to compensate for what you don't have. Did you know that all abundance work begins, and I'm talking like abundance of health, of money, of whatever you are seeking, all abundance work begins with the element of water, because water is the flow. And if everything is coming to you and it's effortless, that's water. If things aren't flowing to you, you don't have the resources, you don't have the time, you don't have the strength, you don't have the health, those things are not flowing to you, there's a lack of water in your world. So if you're not a water sign, you have to start working with other tools that can invoke the element of water, and that's part of what I want to talk to you about. But begin here, Aquamarine. I like to wear it. There's always a piece of my altar space. Like people ask me, what stones do you always have? I always have Aquamarine. If you have an abundance altar space, the stones are always yellow and green for abundance, magically speaking, but Aquamarine should always be there. It's the water. So I recommend that. If you can't have a water element, like I have a fountain behind me, if you can't have a water element or you don't have a water element, just use Aquamarine. It will hold the energy of that movement. Then the last stone here is Ocean Jasper. Now, Ocean Jasper comes from one mine. It is next to the ocean in Madagascar. And what's really interesting is most of the mines of Ocean Jasper, and there aren't many left, have always been owned and operated by women. It's a sustainable, female-driven economy. It's beautiful. It's a form of orbicular jasper, so it's got these little eyes on it, but it's Ocean Jasper. That's what we call it. So it's a beautiful stone. It has divine feminine energy because it's women there who are responsible for bringing that stone to the market. But Ocean Jasper brings you joy. And it helps you focus on the good things. That's been the one challenge for me with Pisces people in my life, is if you ask a Pisces, this is where I sound a little judgmental, but this is like my experience. If you ask a Pisces how they are, a lot of times they're going to tell you something that's not good. Because again, they're holding all the emotions, and that can tend to take them down. And so Ocean Jasper reminds them, when you want to feel all the feelings, let's also feel the good feelings. Let's feel the joy. Let's feel the... and part of them, too, Pisces struggle with abundance in life, I have noticed, even though they're a water sign. And it's because they're not expecting the best to happen. Have you ever noticed that the people in your life, probably you included, who have what you seek, that you expect the best to happen? I always expect the best. I always think like that in the next 15 minutes, something amazing could happen. But I believe it. It's like, it's not an act for me. Like, I really believe that. Like, wow, it's 6:45. By 7 o'clock, some great shit could be happening. And I'm not kidding. And then, poof, something really good happens at 7 p.m. And we're like, what's she doing? No, I really believe it. Like, something... Now, it's not to say... And I'm not, things happen. And it's life. Right? But there's two ways to go through your life. The first is to say at 6:45 and at 7 p.m. something awful could happen. Or at 6:45 and at 7 o'clock something amazing could happen. If you were the universe and you were doling out stuff, who would you give it to? Think about that. Mm-hmm. And people want to talk about like law of attraction and stuff. Mm-hmm. Where are your thoughts going? Mm-hmm. So I find myself in a position a lot of times with Pisces saying, where do your thoughts go? Do your thoughts automatically go to the worst possible outcome or scenario, or do your thoughts go to the best possible outcome or scenario? And Ocean Jasper is this huge talisman for going to the best, trusting that the best is possible. The glass is half full, as Karina says. That's very, very true. And they do have a glass, and there is water in it, and they should look at it that way. Okay. So those are the stones. Before we go into our meditation, if you have your Pisces perfume, I would like you to anoint with it. The way you use magical perfumes, I anoint. I always do my third eye, what I know. I always do my wrists for my hands, what I create. And then I do the backs of my ankles for where I'm going. What I know, what I do, where I go. Okay? So that's my little ritual. Plus, you have a lot of glands in those places. If you add a little bit behind your neck, then you'll be releasing that scent because there's a lot of oil glands there. You can also add a little bit to your candles, and what's cool about that is, because people ask me about diffusing oils, if you add a little bit to your candle, and I'm going to pass this around, if you want to try it. If you add a little bit to your candle, it will diffuse the scent as you burn the candle. And now the oil's in the wax. It already was anyway, but you could add your Pisces oil to an intention candle because you want to draw more water to you. You could... Any of your perfumes can be added to candles, and you can also anoint your stones, which is nice too, because then your altar space smells beautiful because all your stones have a beautiful scent attached to them as well. Okay, so we're going to do a little water meditation that I think will bring some flow. to you. So I want you to sit back, roll your shoulders back. You can put your hands on your knees with your palms up. This allows you to be more receptive to energy. And just call yourself into the room, into present time. Give yourself the gift of the next 5 or 7 minutes. Anything else that's distracting you, just let thoughts of that go. So the water meditation that we're going to do tonight, I'm going to ask you to think about one thing you want to release to water and one thing that you want to receive tonight. I know it's hard because it's only one. Don't push your luck. One thing you want to release and one thing you want to receive. It can be a big thing. Okay? So we're going to begin with the releasing. I want you to imagine yourself at the edge of a shoreline. If there's a beautiful beach that you used to go to when you were young, or a place that you go now, somewhere near a water's edge, but it should be at the edge of a large body of water. I live near the Pacific Ocean, so I always imagine the local beach and just how vast the view is of the water. One of the lessons of water, by the way, is just how small we are. Isn't it? You're made of water. Your body is moved by the moon. And the water, the oceans, are miles deep. We don't know how deep the oceans are. We pretend. People pretend like they know. We don't know. We don't know what lives at the bottom of those oceans. We'll never know. So the oceans hold our mysteries. And water can support us. We can float in it, and it can kill you, can drown you in a moment. So the power of water to heal, to clean, to destroy, you become in awe of the elements when you think about it this way. But I want you to visualize yourself standing at the edge of a large body of water. See the waves come in. See the water coming toward you. Look down and imagine your feet will help kind of crystallize the vision for you. Maybe you're standing on sand or some rocks or pebbles. See the water coming towards you. And I want you to visualize that just off to the right, just in your peripheral vision, is a small boat. Maybe it's 20 feet long. This is not too small, it's small enough. I want you to notice the boat, notice what it's made of. Is it made out of wood? What does it look like? Is there anything written on the side? And let it be a simple boat in your vision. Don't try and overthink it. And just notice that it's sitting there. And it might be swaying as the water comes in. And whatever that thing is that you want to release tonight, I want you to visualize that thing or that relationship or that emotion or that situation, whatever that is, gently placing that onto that boat. If it's an emotion, try and give it a thought form so that you know what you're putting on the boat. So if it's sadness, maybe it's tears that you're putting on the boat. Or if it's anger, what form might that take for you? What does anger look like for you? And putting that on the boat so you can release it. And I want you to visualize. It's really important for you to be active in visualization. So I want you to imagine that you go over to the boat and you begin to push against the boat. And feel the ocean take that boat away from the shoreline. Moving, letting that boat just take itself out onto the water. And as it moves away from you with whatever you're releasing on it, I want you to watch it go. And just releasing any attachments you have to that thing or that experience, that person, that relationship, those feelings, releasing any attachment. Surrendering that thing to water. And knowing that in this visualization, that boat is going to take that experience and that emotion or that person from your life, take it wherever it needs to go, and release any attachment to where it goes. Surrender it to the universe's wisdom, that it be taken from you for the highest good. If it's a low vibration of any kind, that it be transformed. But you're surrendering it. You don't need to know where it's going. You don't need to know what it's going to become. You just know that you're releasing it from yourself tonight for your highest good. And watch it go. You know, when you watch a boat leave the shoreline, and there can be some, I feel it even, like a little pang, like, ooh, gosh, you know, like when something's really going. And that's where you have to release the attachment, really letting it go. And watching that boat as it moves away from you get smaller and smaller as it moves up across the water to the horizon line. And so with the same gracefulness that you released, I want you to turn to your left and notice a boat off in the distance, coming toward you, mirroring the path of the other boat that you just released. And I want you to imagine that whatever it is you're trying to call in, and I hope you see the duality of the fish metaphor being at play here as well. Whatever it is you're trying to call into your life, I want you to imagine that that is on that boat for you now. And that can take many forms. So try to be as specific as you can with the universe. If you're seeking health, what does health look like for you? Does it look like not having pain in your legs, or does it look like, you know, strength, or does it look like getting over an illness? If you're looking for abundance of material resources, does it look like more help at work, or does it look like paying for your car? Like, try and be specific with the universe, but imagine whatever that is that you're seeking to draw to yourself. If it's happiness, or if it's love, what does love look like for you? If it's acceptance of yourself, what would that feel like? And imagine that that boat is carrying that to you in a form that's for your highest good. And I want you to watch that come close to you now. And it's really important that you see the water. You know, the waves carry things to us. As much as they carry things away, they carry things to us as well. And as that boat comes closer, feel a little sense of anticipation, like, wow, what would that feel like if that boat was carrying what I think it is? And it's really important when you're doing abundance work like this and flow work to be immediately grateful for it. Don't ask how or when, say thank you. It's really important. And as that boat comes in and comes closer to you, try to open yourself, turn toward the boat, and feel yourself in a receptive mode. You may not see anything, or you may see something very clearly in the boat. If it's a feeling, though, you may not see anything, but you may feel this. If you're Pisces, you're probably going to feel it. And let the feeling of receiving whatever that is that's been brought to you across oceans, let yourself feel all the depth of feeling of that. All the joy, all the abundance, all the health, all the acceptance, all the love. For some people, it's confidence. A lot of people working on confidence right now. I just want to feel more confident. What would that feel like? And sit in this moment. I want you to develop a vibrational memory of this feeling of receiving. It's really hard for a lot of us to receive, but that's what water teaches us. We become the container to hold it. So what does this feel like right now? Because I want you to be able to, 3 hours from now or 3 days from now, be able to remember what this feels like. I want you to take one really good deep breath here, which will help you internalize this. Inhale, Exhale. And do that one more time. Go ahead and inhale. Exhale. And when you're ready, just start to bring you back from the water's edge. Like I said, it's a brief meditation, but it's a powerful one. Sending, receiving. It's the lesson of Pisces for us. When you're ready, just gently start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll your shoulders back. Become aware of your body again. And just gently, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Kate asked a great question in the feed. She asked, can I let the universe decide what I need? That's real magic. That is real magic to me. Yeah, that's surrender of a kind that most people can't, even fully contemplate. What does it mean to say, universe, you bring, I'll receive? That's a party. I'm so glad you guys liked it. Did you guys in the room enjoy that? I'm glad.
Yes.
I'm glad. Well, and if you cried, someone in the feed mentioned that she was crying. I think that's part of the medicine of tonight, right? Like your tears are important. Your tears are very cleansing. And so I think allowing yourself, if Pisces could teach us some lessons, and that's where I'll leave you for this evening, because can you believe it's an hour already? Time flies when you are truth-telling about astrological signs. I think we've talked about the gift of Pisces. I think the medicine of Pisces, to use that phrase, is that you're safe to feel all of your feelings, to feel it all. One of my most favorite teachers, I've been really blessed to have powerful spiritual teachers in my life. And one of the most used to say things that, how really good teachers say things and they're so simple and then they're not, like those moments. She used to say, that the process of healing, it was one of my shamanic teachers, but the process of healing is truly about learning to acknowledge and receive all of your feelings, to feel it all. Because your challenges in life are rooted in your resistance. What you resist persists. So I want you to practice something. I used to be a teacher. Can you tell? I was a fun teacher, though. I got in trouble a lot. I didn't always follow the rules. There are rules when you teach. I didn't always follow those. But we had a good time. But I always gave homework, so I'm going to give you homework tonight. I know. Nobody calls me doctor anymore. It's kind of a weird thing, but I prefer that. It's a different life, perhaps. But I used to give homework, and I'm going to give you homework for tonight. So I want you to think, just for a moment, how many people in the room have physical pain? Okay. If you feel physical pain, I want you to think about that. If you're feeling emotional pain, I want you to think about that. Whatever kind of pain you're feeling in your life right now. And it could even be weird pain. Like I had a weird neck pain the other day, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then it spontaneously disappeared. Okay. Pain is a sign that you're resisting something. It's your body's way of telling you, if you're not aware, that you're resisting something. Disease is the same thing. You're resisting something. If you're able to, and you can do this in lots of different ways, you can meditate and actually just visualize all parts of your body, starting with the top of your head all the way down to the bottom of your feet, like noticing all the parts of your body. And you can visualize each part of your body and say, I am no longer resisting here. Top of my head, I'm no longer resisting here. My eyes, I'm no longer resisting here. You can ask your guides and guardian angels. You can ask God or Great Spirit or Goddess or however you think of the divine to help you not resist. But pain and emotional pain is a sign that you're resisting something. When you stop the resistance, the pain stops. Like when you don't hit your head on the wall, it feels better. It's magic. I really recommend that you try it. And you know, people always say like, well, that's too hard. You know, like I can't do that. That's a commitment for me. So what I always say is like, just for today, like wake up tomorrow and say, just for today, Saturday, I'm going to not resist. And here's where like the pedal hits the metal, so to speak, or rubber hits the road, or whatever the saying is. Imagine a situation in your life right now that's causing you pain, like bad relationship with your child. A lot of my clients are in that position, or a bad relationship with a partner, or somebody's, you know, hurt you or wounded you in some way. Where it really becomes a practice is to stop and say, I can be at peace with that right now. Whatever that is, I can be at peace with that right now. Some part of me is at peace with that. That's how you stop the resistance, is by meeting those moments and those relationships with peace. Then all of a sudden, they're happier too. Like, whoa, the relationship got better. Yeah, because you're not resisting it. Now, Amy's asking a really good question. How not to resist someone who is violent? This is my 2 cents, okay? When a relationship of any kind is violent, that requires a different kind of engagement, okay? Mostly to ensure your safety. So what we're talking about here is, you know, pain of relationships that may not be jeopardizing your physical well-being. But even so, okay, even so, because I think there are tactical things that have to be done in relationships where you're not physically safe. But the emotional part of that, I think, can still be handled on an energetic level. But there are some people for whom, no matter how much you don't resist, still engage that way. And I think that's why a lot of us have to surrender relationships, right? To the highest good. But that's an important part of being a spiritual being, is knowing when enough is enough. That's me being like kind of tough love for that. But I'm being very honest. I think there are times where enough is enough. You can, you know, a lot of us who are spiritual beings think that part of our work in the world is just to keep pouring into an empty, never-ending well. I'm going to keep loving, I'm going to keep lighting, I'm going to keep meditating, I'm going to keep, and it's like, and then there comes a time where enough is enough. Because here's what I always tell people, your spirit is infinite, your energy is finite. Do you know what I mean? That makes sense to you? You as a light being, you are infinite intelligence, wisdom, and love. You have 24 hours in a day, because I think you're human. I'm pretty sure you're human. I am. I'm named after an immortal goddess, but I'm human. It sucks. But so I have 24 hours a day, I have 7 days in a week, and I need to sleep, and I have 2 kids and a husband. So sometimes enough is enough. And namaste. Yeah. Well, Kayla says she's a mermaid. So that is a true Pisces statement. That's what my daughter would say. My daughter would be like, really? Because I have a tail. And I believe in that. I believe in the mermaids. Yeah. Anyway. Well, to the mermaids. Here's the thing. Like I said, the gift of Pisces to us in the world is that they teach us how to believe. You know what I mean? And they're really good for the Aries. They're good for the Leos. You know, they're good for the bullies. They teach us that there's really something powerful about choosing to believe. When my son came to me this year at the holidays, he said, you know, Mama, my son is 7. He said, you know, Mama, the kids at school are telling me there is no Santa Claus. And I don't want to be an idiot, was what he said. Such an Aries, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, you know, my best advice to you in this moment as my son, because I'm somebody who believes in magic for a living, and you are my son, my best advice to you is to remember that there will always be people in your life who don't believe. They don't believe today in Santa Claus. 10 years from now, they may not believe in God or in a great spirit or in healing or in miracles. But your choice is always to believe. So you have to choose, and you will always have to choose. And I hope you choose to believe. So I think Pisces teach us that. You know, you always have a choice, and Pisces are always going to believe. You know, unless you've hurt them too many times, they're always going to believe. Okay, well, thank you for being here, everybody. I hope you will tune in next time. So here's how you know, okay? It's every 4th Friday. It's easy, right? Every 4th Friday, we do astrology. We do it live here in the shop. We do it with you online at 6 p.m. There's an event page, so you can always go there for details. The Aries set of tools will be available on March 1st at 9 p.m. So if you like to collect your tools, these do sell out. I'm going to try to create just the perfumes at some point because people have been asking me for that because they want to, people like the perfumes. But the sets themselves do sell out. So if you would like the Aries tools, you should tune in on the 1st at 9 p.m. Pacific time. But this was really a joy. It was a joy to have you with me, both in the classroom and online as well. So enjoy your weekend. Be good to your Pisces. When they tell you they believe, don't say it's not true. Not to their face. Not to their face. Okay. Love you all too. We'll see you soon. Take good care, everybody.